Leviticus Chapter 26.
You shall not make gods, Elohim, teraphim, for yourselves. Neither an image, nor a sacred pillar shall you raise up for yourselves. Nor shall you set up a carved stone in your land to bow down to it. For I am Yahweh your Father. You shall reverence me by keeping my Sabbaths at my sanctuary. I am Yahweh. If you walk in my statutes, and keep my laws, and perform and do them, then I will give you rain in its season. The land shall yield its produce, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. Your threshing shall last until the time of vintage, and the vintage shall last until the time of sowing. You shall eat your food until you are full, and live in your land safely. I will give peace in the land, and you shall lie down, and none will make you afraid. I will rid the land of wild beasts, and the sword will not go through your land. You will chase your enemies, and they shall fall by the sword in front of you. 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight. Your enemies shall fall by the sword in front of you. For I will look upon you with honor, and make you fruitful, multiply you, and confirm my covenant with you. You shall eat the old harvest, and clear out the old because of the new. I will set my tabernacle among you, and I will not abhor you. I will walk among you and be your father, and you shall be my people. I am Yahweh your Father, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, that you should not be their slaves. I have broken the bars of your yoke, and made you walk upright. But if you do not obey me, and do not observe and do all these laws, and if you despise my statutes, or if you abhor my judgments, so that you do not perform and do all my laws, and so violate my covenant, I also will do this to you. I will bring upon you sudden terror, wasting diseases and fever that will destroy your sight and drain away your life. You will plant seed in vain because your enemies will eat it. I will set my face against you, so that you will be defeated by your enemies. Those who hate you will rule over you, and you will flee, even when no one is pursuing you. If after all this you will not listen to me, I will punish you for your sins 7 times over. I will break down your stubborn pride, and make the sky above you like iron, and your earth like brass. And your strength shall be spent in vain, for your land shall not yield its produce, nor shall the trees of the land yield their fruit. Then if you walk contrary to me, and are not willing to obey me, I will multiply your affliction 7 times over, as your sins deserve. I will send wild animals against you, and they will rob you of your children, destroy your cattle, and make you so few in number that your highways will be desolate and empty. And if in spite of these things you do not accept my correction, and are not reformed by me, but walk contrary to me, then I also will walk contrary to you, and I will punish you yet 7 times over for your sins. And I will bring a sword against you to avenge the breaking of my covenant. When you withdraw together within your cities, I will send pestilence among you, and you will be given into the hand of the enemy. When I cut off your supply of food, 10 women will be able to bake your bread in 1 oven, and they will dole out the bread by weight. You will eat, but you will not be satisfied. If in spite of this you still do not obey me, but continue to walk contrary to me, then I also will in my fury continue to walk contrary to you, and I, even I, will chastise you 7 times over for your sins. You shall eat the flesh of your sons, and you shall eat the flesh of your daughters. I will destroy your high places, cut down your incense altars, and throw your carcasses upon the lifeless forms of your gods, Elohim, teraphim, and I shall abhor you. I will lay your cities waste, and bring your sanctuaries to desolation, and I will not smell the fragrance of your pleasing aromas. I will bring the land to desolation, and your enemies who live in it shall be astonished by it. I will scatter you among the nations, and draw out a sword after you. Your land shall be desolate, and your cities wasted. Then the land shall enjoy its Sabbaths, as long as it lies desolate, and you are in your enemy's land. Then the land shall rest and enjoy its Sabbaths. As long as it lies desolate, the land will have the rest it did not have during the Sabbaths you lived in it. As for those of you who are left, I will make their hearts so fearful in the lands of their enemies that the sound of a wind-blown leaf will put them to flight. They will run as though fleeing from the sword, and they will fall, even though no one is pursuing them. They will stumble over one another as though fleeing from the sword, even though no one is pursuing them. So you will not be able to stand before your enemies. You shall perish among the nations, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up. And those of you who are left shall waste away because of their iniquity in your enemies' lands. Also because of their fathers' sins, they will waste away. But if they will confess their sins, and the sins of their fathers, with their unfaithfulness in which they were unfaithful to me, in which they also have walked contrary to me, which made me walk contrary toward them, so that I sent them into the land of their enemies. Then, when their uncircumcised hearts are humbled, and they pay for this sin, then I will remember my covenant with Jacob, and my covenant with Isaac, and my covenant with Abraham I will remember. I will remember the land. The land also shall be left empty by them, and will enjoy its Sabbaths, while it lies desolate without them. They will accept their guilt, because they despised my judgments, and because they abhorred my statutes. Yet in spite of this, when they are in the land of their enemies, I will not reject them, or abhor them, so as to destroy them completely, breaking my covenant with them. I am Yahweh their Father. But for their sake I will remember the covenant with their ancestors, whom I brought out of the land of Egypt, in the sight of the nations, that I might be their Father. I am Yahweh.
These are the statutes and judgments and laws which Yahweh made between himself and the children of Israel on Mount Sinai by the hand of Moshe.